Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of you, and peace out to the rest of you. Black heart, black mind, black in. Again, hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. To briefly say this, I want to start off giving a shout out to Imam Sheikh Maulana Dwight Hayes. He knows this playbook. He has the playbook memorized. Not only the plays, but the sequence of them. And he's told it to me before. I can't find the message now, but he's mentioned it before. One of the things in the playbook is that they're going to, one of the elements of the playbook is that they got to attack your manhood. One of the details of that element is that they got to accuse you of being into other men. Being into either men's genitalia or their rectums. But they got to make that accusation at some point. And this comes somewhere before they send other men to go beat you up, physically harm you. That's the one thing I want to talk about that is not to be underestimated. It is not to be feared. It shouldn't cower you into submission, but it should not be underestimated. This is something that messy, wicked witches of the West, and even wicked witches that want to be of the West, know can ruin someone because you can't prove that someone is not. Unless, matter of fact, even if you videotape them with the opposite gender, you can't prove that they're not. You just can't. So, therefore, since you can't prove it, that's an accusation that would stick. They're also aware that once that accusation is out there about a guy, he is doomed to be by himself, unless he really is into other men's nether regions, in which case he is stuck with other men, but, that's what they were saying anyway. So they understand that this type of thing would only hurt a man that's really not into that. But what they always want to do, you have to understand they cannot stand it when a man says, I'm going to stay by myself and play it safe, and I'm not going to fall victim to a trap simply because I have a libido. What they're out to do is to weaponize the normal heterosexual male libido against the male. They will even deny their own libidos for that purpose, just to make sure that it becomes a source of stress and danger for you, not them. They'll do that. You get hip to that game, you expose that. At some point, they're going to come out and say this. If they dox me, they're going to say that about me too. Now, I'm not that famous, fortunately, and I seek refuge. I seek God's refuge from that. But if that was the case, they would do that in my case as well. And keep in mind that false accusation can ruin a man's life to a certain extent, but what it does is that it takes away, when a man is saying, I'm going to stay by myself, it takes away the choice from him. Because now with that label, of course, every lady is going to avoid him, thinking that he might actually be that. So now it's not his choice, it becomes, they make him into an incel, not a volcel. They take the option away. They love to do that because for ladies, it has to be, you can't get none. They have to say this. At some point, they've got to say this. You can't get none. They must say that at some point. And of course, most men aren't attractive to most women. So they really have this that they can use. They can use this against most men. They could. It's just most men don't get their attention. But if you get their attention by pointing out the other games they play, then this is the trump card. You hate women because you're gay. And the results that come about that. It's more than a label. I want you to understand this, gentlemen. Here's why. When you're our age, it doesn't make a difference. But we got a lot of young cats that are coming through the ranks. They're getting out of high schools every year. And they're red pill aware. And they know what to do. They know what to avoid. They know what to watch out for. But they're also in greater danger because of a label like this. Because they're younger, they don't have as much of a track record. And ladies know, you can say this about any man that's not a hit and a big success with the ladies. Most men aren't. They know this. So you make them angry, they're going to come with this. Right? Okay. So they know that it's really going to work on young cats. Young cats know it's really going to work and ruin their lives to a certain extent. But then there's more. You see, most men that actually are into other men aren't going to do what I'm about to tell you right now. Most of them, as much as I disagree with their lifestyle, don't stoop to the low depth that I'm about to tell you about. They generally keep their activities limited to other guys like them that are willfully in that community. There are a few older guys, a few of them that are older, that don't want to do that. They want to recruit. They want to try to flip someone, turn them. That's what they're looking for. Now, there's a profile to them. They generally are older, and they want to flip someone and be the dominant man in the relationship. As rare as they are, there's no limit to the number of guys they can try this on. And they may try a lot because most young men are going to be secure in their sexuality and are not going to be easily convinced that, maybe I really am gay. You can't convince them like that. So these young guys are not going to offer very fertile ground for this. So these older guys, if that's what they're into, they have to try again and again and again. Here's where the problem comes in. There's still a psychological damage, even when a young guy is secure in his heterosexuality and he's not swinging that way and he's not trying no dude, and you ain't going to convince him, and you can't say to him, well, don't knock until you try it, to get him to try it. He still becomes angry with each subsequent approach by another man. Because if you're a hetero man, who do you want to approach you? Attractive women. Guess what? They're not going to, but men will. So you're going to become angry and angry each subsequent approach. If you get enough attention like that and get approached by enough guys, eventually you're going to flip out one day and go upside somebody's head. Because you're human. You're going to lose your temper. That's where the real danger comes in. The other thing too, though, is that there are going to be a few guys that are going to fall victim to that. They're going to believe that. In many cities throughout the United States, any black male practicing this is considered to have a 100% chance of contracting HIV. The question in these cities where this is the case, the only question is what age. But there are cities where 100% of black men that self-identify as gay when they go to get tested for certain things have not just an STD, but specifically HIV. Now, in some cities, that age might be 34. In others, it may be 54, the cutoff ages. And in other cities, it's not 100%. I'm telling you the information I was told about a year before I left the United States. It may have gotten better since then. It may have gotten worse. Let's be on the safe side and prepare and plan as though it's gotten worse, okay? Unless you got the stats, the updated stats, in which case you could come in the comments section and tell me. What I got before I left was that. Because people, there were older guys trying this. Now, I saw this when I was in college. Then again, I was in Atlanta. One guy tried this, but he wasn't even older than me. He was my age. And I threw him into a wall for it and left. I'm not going to count that as a fist fight because we never threw a punch. But it was the last time I actually got that violent with somebody in my life. Never had to after that. There was another cat, older. He was going back to college for whatever reason. And he was approaching straight dudes and trying to get them to go to the gym and telling them, oh man, we need to go lift one day and then we can sit in the jacuzzi and then because after you do that and after shower, you feel like a whole new person. Same pitch to different cats, because they told me about it. Then there was another one, it was a personal friend of mine, and he was a psych major. You can see what he thought was going to happen. Now, both of the older ones knew one thing. They knew that ladies would keep me at a distance, and I didn't trust them. They knew this. They weren't always mean. I'm not saying that. They knew I was single. That's what they knew. They may have even known why. I didn't, but they may have known why. I found out later. But the point I'm getting at is that they knew this. So their profile was young cats that weren't really succeeding with women, but there wasn't something wrong with these dudes. That was their profile. If they were this age and they were trying this stuff, that meant that they had had some success, maybe not much, but they'd had some success. So somewhere down the line, some dudes were like, oh, maybe I am like this. And, maybe women know that, and that's why they won't give me a chance, and whatever the case was. Well, as we know, that's dangerous to health. Hetero arrangements can be dangerous to one's health. But health workers will tell you that what I'm saying is not based on some irrational fear. It's not based on a phobia. They will say that between dudes trading butt, it skyrockets. They'll tell you that. Especially between black men that do it. They will tell you this. So for some dudes, that false label becomes a risk of HIV. For other dudes, it becomes a risk of losing your temper, going upside somebody's head, and having to do some time for that. And of course, as you know, when you're behind bars, some dudes ask and other dudes don't. You understand? So, just letting y'all know that is a dangerous weapon in their arsenal, in their playbook, and we should not underestimate it. We should be prepared. Gentlemen, when you tell these truths and you do it online, keep your anonymity, because that is one weapon that they can use to ruin your life. And you may not even be young, but the younger you are, the higher the chances are that some way, form, or fashion it's going to ruin your life. So keep your anonymity when you're doing this. Because see, they've been trying this, and who do they go after? They go after the ones that aren't anonymous. I mean, hell, they went after Kevin after he flipped the script and was telling the ladies what they needed to know about their own delusions. Then they went in on him. I don't even understand that. So just understand. Keep this in mind. Be ready. And keep your anonymity if you're going to talk about this online. You are not required to give your enemies a handle by which they can ruin your life somehow. I hope that this is a benefit. And thank you, Brother Hayes, for talking about this playbook and describing it. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it.